And that leads us very nicely on to our final speaker of the day. Last but certainly not least, it's Jeremy Martinez. He's going to be giving his talk on human-computer integration from the perspective of an information security specialist. And that's his digital dream. So Jeremy, whenever you're ready, feel free to take control of the screen and we'll listen to your talk on human-computer integration.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate that introduction. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeremy Martinez, and I'm an information security specialist here at Atos. And my digital dream regards into human-computer integration. It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. Our technology has exceeded our humanity. A quote by Albert Einstein. I'll be the first person to say it. Technology is exciting. From the first use of punch cards in 1890 to the first use of home computers in 1974, to the invention of iPhones that created mobile computing in 2007, to wearing computers on our wrists in 2013. It really has been the narrative that we've been enhancing the human experience through technology, something I'd like to call human-computer integration. Now, one new rising technology that I think is super exciting is brain-computer interfaces. These are computer-based hardware that can be embedded in your brain or worn on your head that turns brain waves to create digital input. So there are two types of this. So you have your invasive. Now, these are your surgically implanted devices that go actually inside of your brain. It reads your neurons to translate into digital input. And it is very high risk. However, it is really effective. A lot of you guys may have heard of Elon Musk's company, Neuralink. They currently have these devices inside monkeys where they're able to use computers. Going forward, we have our non-invasive devices. Now, these are your headsets. As you can see the image on the screen, it looks kind of silly. However, the risk here is a lot lower. So there are more companies in this field, and it is not as effective. So how is this done? Well, using human-assisted learning, artificial intelligence, and neural networks, you're able to create a standard. By inputting your brainwaves into the standard, you're able to create interactions. So if I were to look at my phone and think, iPhone, unlock, those thoughts are compared against a standard that was previously recorded from the previous time someone has thought unlock iPhone, to then create an output into a digital input, which are the interactions. I guess what I'm trying to say here is by blurring the lines between humans and computers, it changes the way we interact with the world. Take a brief moment and just think of all the applications here. Here are some uses that I've found. For people that are unable to use computers, it gives them a way to use computers, to use iPhones. It really opens countless doors for them and removes the barriers set in their life. But with all good comes bad. So you have risk here. There's a huge privacy concern. Your brain being connected to the internet is something that there is to be concerned about. Security is also another risk. What happens if someone's device is compromised? Another use is the enhancement of mental capacity. Computers compute. Imagine having the speed of a computer at your fingertips, being able to think of complex algorithms, being able to surf the internet. It really opens a new way of interaction that we haven't even thought of before. But you also have a risk here: malicious users, foreign actors, hackers. Imagine a hacker infiltrating a system, and they're just thinking about what code they want to inject, what ways they want to attack it. It is something that brings a lot of abuse and is someone could take advantage of. But the narrative here is enhancement. So we do these things because it brings new ways to communicate. Think about the loss of information between doctors and patients, being able to medically evaluate people better. Think about you cooking dinner in your house and your son is riding his bike down the road and he falls, breaks his arm, and and he can message you, and you have a thought pop in your brain, hey, Dad, I fell on my bike, can you come help? And the loss of information there is huge to society. But then you have a sensory risk. Not all things in people's brains are meant to be seen, unfortunately. It is something where you have to have something in place to have a buffer here. It also brings new ways to design and engineer and create. Imagine being in a scrum room where you're meeting and talking about the new architecture and exciting project, and the architecture spinning up on the projector as you're thinking about it and discussing with your team, allowing you to visualize in ways that you haven't even imagined before. But you have a serious lack of research here. This is a very new thing, and we need experts in this field. We don't know the long-term effects of having a device embedded in our brain or the radio waves going through our brain. There's a lot of questions raised. What I'm trying to say is it really opens an entire industry, new companies, new applications, new uses, new laws, new regulations. The implications are unthinkable. There are people way smarter than me that are going to come up with better use cases, and it's really going to change the way we live. However, there are always going to be problems. So let's talk about these issues. First of all, there's a lack of regulation. In fact, there aren't any proper regulations in place for brain-computer interfaces in the United States today. There are some proposals. There are some things promoting research, but there's a serious concern here. And then you have your lack of data privacy. Currently, only 3 states in the United States have actual data privacy laws. There are no federal data privacy laws. So if we can't even get those protected, how are we supposed to get regulations for brain-computer interfaces? Going forward, you have a risk of compromise. Like I said before, what happens if somebody hacks into your device? Then you have the ethical implications. Is it morally sound? Who should be able to use this technology first? Is it okay for someone to have this sort of power? Here are my solutions. So the first part about regulation, there's a big question here of who should regulate this. Is it the FDA, the NSA, the government, or any other governing bodies? Well, AMH's Journal of Ethics believes that a new committee with humanistic aims should be created to draw up laws, and I personally think it should be headed by experts in the field. That way, we have good, like-minded people that understand the technology writing our regulations. Next, we have standards. The same way that we have cybersecurity standards, think about things like NIST and CSA and ISO. We need some sort of standards in place that these companies have to follow so that they are doing things morally and ethically sound and in a protected way for the users. Next is research. In order to write meaningful and correct laws, you have to have people that understand the technology completely. And then we have ethics. I believe that going forward with innovation and with technology, you have to be ethically sound. You can't just trailblaze through and think we need to develop this the best way we can. We have to keep the betterment of society in mind. Going back to our Albert Einstein quote, it has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity. I think, to me, what you have to consider is that Albert Einstein died in 1955. That is over 65 years ago. Think of all the technology that has come out since then. This is something that he saw, that technology was eclipsing our humanity. My digital dream is to live in a world where we have fully integrated ourselves with computers, but we've done it in a way that protects society, a way that keeps the tenets of our humanity in mind. And we go forward with and think about the ethical implications. We only lose our humanity if we forget about our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Jeremy. What a way to end the set of speakers.